Hey, what's going on, everyone? I am back for another Slim Sports interview. And as always, I am your host, Jay Slim. And joining me today is one of the best when it comes to the pass rush games. If you are a quarterback, you need to just go back to the sideline, put your backup in, because this guy is going to come at you headstrong, bring it to the ground for some big time sacks. One of the top defensive ends in the country, 6'6" D end out of Arkansas from the Razorbacks, Quincy Rhodes Jr. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Excited to have you on. Saw this season to support the Razorbacks with Philip Lee, who I've had on in the past. And I saw what you did on the field, and you just took the SEC by storm this year. Absolutely incredible what you did. And you got some accomplishments to your name as well throughout this season. And I want to talk about some of them in a quick segment that I like to call Resume Rundown, where I'm just going to show off a nice little graphic here at this point in the interview, showing off what you've done. And first of which, you were a semifinalist for the Bednarik Award. Congrats on that. That's some of the best to get that kind of recognition. You ranked top five in the SEC in sacks, second in TFLs, earning yourself all SEC second team honors in 2025, and actually made history for the program. First ever Razorback in history with multiple four plus TFL games in a season. So, really able to make your mark right off the bat. And you entered this season having started only one game in your previous years with the Razorbacks, recorded only one sack in 2 years, and obviously had this incredible season that you just came off of. What was the motivation going into this year to really be able to prove yourself and have this dominant season?
It was really just doing my job. I know that I have a lot of people that depend on me and really just executing and playing to the abilities that I know I'm capable of doing.
hmm Yeah, absolutely, man. And obviously, you were able to do that, and you had over a third of your team's sacks this year. You guys had 22 as a team. You yourself, you had eight just on your own, and you were able to, whether it was a swim move, just full on bully ball in the offensive line to be able to get to the quarterback, you were able to always get there and for the sacks, TFLs, whatever it was, even force a fumble here and there. What really went into this production when it came to the pass rush, when it came to getting to the quarterback? Were there any specific drills at practice that you really hang your hat on to where it was able to help you improve, or was it just that mentality where you were able to see things in fruition?
Like you said, just seeing things. I'm really a guy. I'm just like natural and raw, if you get what I'm saying. So like, I react on what they give me, and also like film also plays a big part of pass rushing and knowing their weaknesses and all that stuff. So just I feel like as any pass rusher would do, usually your go-to move or your primary move, you know how to set it up in multiple ways. So just knowing your opponent and knowing what he's doing in certain situations plays a big part in that.
Absolutely. And first couple games of the season were incredible for you, going against Alabama, A&M, and M, and Arkansas State, where you ended up having a couple of sacks, a couple of TFLs real early on in the season, to where that kind of helped kickstart the statistical season that you had overall. Overall on the season, according to ESPN.com, 44 tackles, 15 and a half TFLs, eight sacks. Against Arkansas State, you had six tackles with a pair of sacks there. You guys ended up going against Memphis, six tackles, two sacks, four TFLs in that game. And then Mississippi State, six tackles, four and a half TFLs, a sack, and a forced fumble. Just absolutely lit up the stat sheet in that game. How would you say those first couple of games against Alabama A&M and M and Arkansas State really helped click everything together to where you were able to go off and put up these numbers throughout the rest of the season?
Uh, I say a lot of things is built off confidence, as any player would, have a good game and all that stuff. Just continuously stacking weekends and again, like I was saying, knowing your responsibilities, knowing that you got your teammates to help you make plays, plays a big part in it.
Absolutely. And obviously, you were a big focal point on the scouting report, especially towards the end of the season when you were in SEC play, where now there's a lot more film on you. People are scouting you, going, all right, Quincy Rhodes Jr., we got to double team this guy so he doesn't get to our quarterback. He doesn't get into the backfield. How would you say them focusing on you allowed the rest of your defensive line, allowed the rest of the defense to be able to go out there and make plays? Philip Lee, who I mentioned before, he had about three and a half, four sacks as well. You had 22 sacks on the season. How would you say your production helped affect the rest of the defense?
It left a lot of other of my teammates with one-on-ones. One-on-ones are, the best situation you could possibly be in. So just learning how to capitalize on when you get the opportunity plays a big role for them. And just knowing that, I'm able to also, again, be a teammate, be a team leader, and, also do my job and affect the other team. And it allows my teammates to, what I'm saying, win those one-on-one opportunities.
Absolutely. And they won their opportunities, you won yours, and you made a whole lot of big time plays throughout this season that I want to talk about in this segment that I like to call Make That Play, where I'm going to show off some of the best plays that you made this past season. And I looked through all of your sacks, all of your TFLs, all those big time plays, and I put together what I felt like were your top three plays from this past season here on my list. But obviously, I'm just a stats guy, I'm just a fan in the stands. You're the one on the field doing what you do best. So, what would you say was your best play from this past season?
Oh, I don't know. That's hard. I'm just a ball player, so I'll probably say probably one of those plays against Mississippi State. That's really about it.
Well, I do have one of those plays on here, and I'll get into that here in a sec because that is number one. Number three, I have a 6 yard sack going against Alabama A&M where you fought right past the block at the O line and you just pulverized the quarterback. You hit him so hard, I don't think he played the rest of the game. It
Yeah,
looked like he got a concussion how hard you hit him with the
yeah.
power that you had. And then later on in the season, you guys went against Auburn, and that's where play number two comes in. 9 yard sack going against the Tigers, powered through the right tackle, had a straight line to the quarterback, and once again laid him on the ground. And number one, you and I both agree Mississippi State was probably your best game of the season, and you had a 10-yard strip sack against Mississippi State, hit a spin move off the right tackle, showing that athleticism, got to the quarterback for a big time sack, and you also punched the ball out right when you wrapped up. So, boom, forced fumble, and huge game there in SEC play. And obviously, those are just three of the many big time plays that you had throughout this season. And in SEC play, it's no joke. You guys have so much competition. Obviously, Alabama, Georgia, LSU, just to name a few. You competed against 9 different teams ranked in the top 25 throughout the season, and you are able to show out each and every night, showing people what you could do. How would you say your performances against those type of teams was able to really help put you on notice at a national scale?
You got to think about it. Like when you playing against the best of the best, and you having good games or you're being productive. Of course, that's going to gather anybody's attention. So, knowing that you can compete against the best of the best, they consider the SEC like the smaller league of NFL or the SEC has had the most draft picks the last several years. So knowing you can go against people like that and be productive against the best of the best it speaks for itself.
Absolutely. A lot of great games throughout the year. Unfortunately, the season didn't go the way that you guys wanted it to. 2-10 overall record with those two wins coming early on in the season. 52-7 win over Alabama A&M, and then 56-14 win over Arkansas State before going into SEC play. And you know, had a little bit of a losing streak, but you guys did keep it close. Defense did what they could do. Offense, I mean, you guys had an incredible offense throughout the year as well. 6 of those games were decided by just one score. And on top of that, I believe it was 5 games into the season, your guys' head coach, Sam Pittman, ended up uh, getting released from his contract. You obviously, you're a veteran leader. This is your third year in the program. You're trying to do what you can to keep the defense focused on the season, do what you guys can. How would you say you stepped up in those moments with all of this chaos going around for the program? How would you say you stepped up to help this team?
I just say adversity, you're gonna go through it throughout, your entire lifespan. So just knowing when you face adversity and you gotta overcome it, it kind of shows character and it lets, certain individuals know who the person you are. I just say like again, when you being recruited, you play the game of football, you know the task at hand. So regardless of who may have a head job, who the coach may be, you still out there to do your job. And if you got dreams, goals, and aspirations, the goal for me is to go to the NFL. So I know coaches play a lot of attention to chaos and how do you overcome chaos and adversity and what do you do when adversity hits? Are you gonna run away from it? Are you gonna push through it? Like just little things like that. So my teammates, and I kind of had a mentality of what's next. How are we gonna continue to put good things on film, and again, we know our why. So that's the base of it. That's the moral of it.
Absolutely. And Uh, you guys are going into next season with a new head coach, a head coach that you guys actually went against in the regular season, going against Memphis, where that was a very close 32-31 game where it could have gone either way. Ryan Silverfield, who was the head coach for the Tigers, he is now representing the Razorbacks. He is your guys' new head coach going into the 2026 season. And you made the decision to return for another year. You were on a couple of draft boards where I believe you posted one where you were predicted to be a first round pick not too long ago. You were making the decision for yourself, for your family to remain in college under this new head coach. What was that conversation with Coach Silverfield when you decided to make that decision, and what overall went into that decision?
What went into the decision? I had got some advice from a few other people, some coaches, and of course, my coach is going to talk to NFL scouts, and NFL scouts going to talk back. So the moral of the story is like scouts feel like it's a lot of things. Well, it's not a lot of things, but it's some things that I could continuously to work on. And my biggest thing, and I noticed myself, is the run game. Again, being a dominant player, I feel like you got to be dominant in the pass and in the run. So I feel like I could continue to work on the run game and all those great things. And a lot of NFL scouts know that my natural gift, the ability is to pass rush. So they want to see me stop the run a little more, and that's going to really solidify myself top 15 pick in the next year's draft. And that's kind of what I got told. So that's what played a part in my staying being in college.
Hey, if you keep on developing, it's going to be a scary sight in the SEC whenever you're going against somebody. I cannot wait to see what you do next season. And overall, the Razorbacks offense had a top five ranking in points per game and yards per game in the SEC last year. They were able to light it up and really help you guys out throughout the season. How would you say with if that offense is able to maintain that top five ranking and do kind of the same that they did this past season, how would you say the defense needs to improve a little bit next season to where you guys are able to come out on top in these one score games and hopefully make your way to an SEC championship?
I feel as if not even just speaking as a defense as a whole, but as a unit, as a team as a whole, we got to be more consistent and learn how to finish. A lot of great teams who know how to win, finish the game. They limit mistakes, limit penalties because we had games where we had too many penalties, setting records for penalties, and all that crazy stuff. So, just starting off with those two or three, like I just mentioned, it'll play a big part in our success and win ratio.
Hey, there you go. Spoken like a true leader right there. Got to have that consistency throughout the entire roster. I know you got to play alongside a lot of great talent this past season. I mentioned Philip Lee, who's a great guy that I've had on the podcast, and obviously a tremendous defense, tremendous offense overall. And you get a chance to shout some of them out in this segment that we're about to get into called Who's Up Next, where you have the opportunity to give some names, some recommendations that I can have on the podcast, get their names out there, get their stories out there, just like you're doing now. So, who's up next on the Slim Sports Podcast?
Um, so you got I don't like to do individual people because when people see this they well you don't believe in me, you don't think I'm this, you don't think I'm that, which ain't the case. But to me, being honest, KJ Jackson, quarterback who's stepping up in the role of Taylor Green, he's going to be a great quarterback and a great player in the SEC. Trying to think about any O-lineman returning. Kobe Branham, Cash Courtney, that's offensive side. You got Braylon Russell, you got Cam Settles. Cam Settles is actually from where I'm from, but he's from the other side of the river. I'm from North Little Rock. He's from Little Rock. Um, Let me think. I'm gonna go defense now. Um, to be honest, I think Bradley Shaw, he's a great linebacker. Again, he's still young, he's still developing, still learning technique, all that crazy stuff. Trent Sellers, Caleb Bell, Kevin Otis. Kevin Otis, he played in the All American game, the Under Armour All American game. Um, who else? Keandre Johnson. He's still growing in the SEC. That's really all I can think of right now. So, um,
Hey, if you can think of any more, you can always hit me up. I'm always looking for
for
more
sure.
people to have on this podcast. And obviously, you were able to rattle those names off. So I know there are some dogs. I know that they are going to step up big time for the Razorbacks next season, just like you are going into 2026 season. I know you mentioned before how you're looking to improve on the run game. Are there
Mm.
any other aspects of your game that you're looking to really improve on going into next year to where you can solidify yourself as a top tier pick in the 2027 NFL draft? Whether it's working on certain drills, IQ, what is it next for you next season?
IQ and run game, and again, pass rushing. Like again, I'm going to be a complete player, and you're never going to be perfect, but I still want to critique the little things to where I can be a potential, first round guy. And a lot of people, they just pray to make it to the NFL. I pray to be successful, have a probably a 6 to 12 year career in the NFL. I feel like that's a pretty successful career and make money and all that crazy stuff. Um, and I only thing about my pass rush is if like not stand on blocks. Also, getting off blocks and using my hands a little more. So I think I could do that better, but that's really it. Outside of that,
Hey, there we go, man. I've had some great players on this podcast in the past that are now in the NFL. Shout out to Aiden Huntington, got an autographed jersey. He's with the Browns now. And soon enough, I'm going to have a Quincy Rhodes autographed NFL jersey hanging up there
sure.
as well. So I cannot wait to see what you do next season. There is no doubt in my mind that you are a first round caliber pick wherever you end up going at the NFL ranks. Really meant a lot to get you on this podcast to help lead off this season of the Slim Sports Podcast. So thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule and hopping on the podcast, man.
Yes, sir. Anytime, my guy. Appreciate you.